Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now for our special little segment. You've seen him before. You've heard him before. He's like music to the ears, okay? And this is not his first rodeo on Cancel Me Baby. And he is an entertainment biz vet, okay? Try to prove me wrong. It is Bobby Jones of The Buzz. Now, Bobby reached me because he was like, I have something to say. Let me on this show. Okay, hold my hearings. And I have no idea what Bobby has to say. So, Bobby, what's the sitch? Go ahead.
Hold up. Holding my hearing.
Yes, thank you.
Right, I'm getting Vaseline on your face. It was crazy. First of all, let's start this off. I'm going to answer your question with a question. What did you think?
Well, I just did a whole episode on it, but I thought it was completely unacceptable. I thought it was narcissistic. I thought it was elitist, entitlement, and I thought it was just wrong. And I thought it's another double standard. I love the points that some people made. If this were a makeup artist, if this were a C-list soap star, they would have been dragged the fuck out so fast. It's not even funny. So, Bobby, that's why, because you've seen this up close and personal. That's why I wanted to hear what you thought. And have you met, because I've met Jada, I've met Jaden. Have you met Will or been in contact? Because you've been everywhere.
I've been in contact with Will. I've been in the same room with Jada. I've definitely met the kids. It's one of those type of things where it's exactly what you said. And being in the room, seeing what happened, like we got to interview the stars exactly as it happened real time. We were at another carpet for the Oscars. So then the stars came in, we seen it real time, what was going on. And it was one of those things that it should have never happened. One, B, they should have never let him stay. And everything you're saying is true. It is a situation where there is a pecking order and he's at the top of the food chain, and that's why he got to stay. And I think it's horrible that not only did he get to stay, but then also that he got to celebrate. And he's at after parties, even the optics, like after party, maybe you go home and chill. No, I'm at an after party turning up.
Bobby, he's partying like it's 1999. Are you kidding me? Hold on. Here's something that I want to ask you. And this is what I talked about in my episode is the race component. I saw one Black commentator say, dude, are you joking? First of all, you're just perpetuating this stereotype about Black men and violence. But then, Bobby, I saw on the other end of it, which I also talk about in the episode, a Black commentator who said, oh, white people are just upset by this because they can't stand to see a Black man in power, which I completely disagree with. So what is your take on that?
This had nothing to do with color. The only thing it had to do with color is that it was Will Packard's first situation. It's also Questlove's first situation. It overshadowed that. But it had something to do everything with elitism. And it was all about elitism and thinking that you can get away with that. You pre-planned that stuff. You laughed at the joke, saw that your wife maybe didn't take it too funny. You went up there and you struck that guy. You knew exactly what you were going to do because then you didn't lead in. You said, I'm going to be calm so I can get close to him so I can hit him. Because if he would have came up there with rage and been enraged, then Chris would have had a chance to duck, move, anything else. But you had him with his hands behind his back. You sucker punched him. You sucker punched him across the board. So it has nothing to do with race at all, as much as it has to do with an elitism.
Okay, because on my show, I talk about like thinking like everybody else and being part of a pack and being part of a herd. Do you feel like there's almost like an obligation, say as a Black person, to like defend him and say what that guy said, like, oh, well, like white people can't stand to see this Black guy have power like that. Do you know what I mean? Like as a type of allegiance or alliance.
It's almost one of those type of things where you feel like you have a duty to have to support him. But wrong is wrong is wrong. Had Will came up there and shot him, are we still supporting him? Had Chris Rock really been severely injured, are we still supporting him? So it's what's wrong is wrong is wrong. Yeah, you feel like, oh, man, we should support, that whole situation. And he's taking a lot and everything else. And Chris made jokes before. That's what comedians do. And also there's some comedians that have certain people in their radar. And it's not a freedom of speech and you should be your retaliation. It's jokes. It's jokes across the board. I have a guy that every time he sees me, he tells a joke. Sometimes he tells racist jokes. I don't get mad. Some of them I laugh at. But it's not
like what? It's like what?
Like, I mean, it's old dad jokes, and it's like one of those type of things where hey, Big Bobby, you know, and it's like, what the black guy and the Russian guy and the Jewish guy say when they walk into a club and stuff like that, you know, and it's like it's a corny punchline and you're laughing at it and everything else. But it's like, you know, we feel that sometimes we have to defend and over defend and have a sense of community and everything else. I understand that, but what's wrong is wrong is wrong, and he was wrong.
And it's also, you know, a lot of comics are saying, are you joking? Because comedy is the great equalizer. And I'm not going to lie, I've seen so many, you know, mainstream and think pieces. You know, I saw In Style post, you know, because not only like, you know, race card aside, but it's also like a joke about a woman or a joke about a black woman. So I even saw In Style post a thing that's like, so here's the thing to educate all of you on alopecia and all these. I know you're rolling your eyes. I even saw a think piece yesterday, and I'm not trying to invalidate anyone's experience, but it was a woman similar to Jada. And she's like, here's why it's not okay. A whole think piece on her alopecia. And I'm like, people, I'm not downplaying your disease, but someone even said, I can't remember who it was, maybe Bill Maher, but they're like, this person isn't going through leukemia or a life-threatening. I'm sorry. It's like at some point we have to have nuance.
And I mean, not to even cut you off. There's a couple people who does have alopecia who thought the joke was hilarious and thought that it wasn't about that joke. It was about a ton of other things on top of it. In other words, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. So it had nothing to do with alopecia, especially when you have Jada in more than one video saying like, I don't care what people say about my bald head. So if you don't care what people say about your bald head, then you shouldn't be offended by it.
And you're right. I forgot to make that point in my up that Will's cracking up at first and you can see her rolling her eyes and the idea that G.I. Jane is a hot ass bitch. So let's just talk about that. Okay.
Grace Jones. There's so many people with bald heads that even Sinead O'Connor back in the day. You know, it's like there's some people who Willow doesn't have alopecia. She just chooses to shave her head in solidarity of her mother and the fact that she likes it. And actually, she did make a point to shave her head, Will thought, because after her I Whip Your Hair back and forth, her daughter shaved her head because she wanted to rebuild, because she didn't want to go on tour, because Will felt that maybe he wanted it more than she did.
I don't think Chris Rock knew. I didn't know.
He didn't know. He had no idea. It's not common knowledge unless you're in this Hollywood circle. But even no matter how you talk about it, if you don't follow them and everything else, Chris doesn't have time to be on Twitter or on YouTube or check with the last Oprah interview. And even even if it's like, okay, well, Chris didn't write the joke. Somebody wrote the joke.
Somebody not right. Did. I know. I actually heard though that part was improv. But again, it's like it's stand-up comedy. You see, it's physical. I joke about it in my episode. You're in a stand-up, you see someone in the first row and you make fun of how they look. Like, it's what they do. It's the physicality.
There's people who, that's the whole thing. So there's people with, there was quite a few comedians that have medical conditions, whether it's MS, whether it's leukemia, whether it's cancer, and they joke about it. They joke about it themselves. They shed the light on everything else, and they're dying. Their situation would they only have a few years to go, or MS, where their lifespan is short and everything else. They're not going to live a full life. And they joke about their situation. And yet that's okay for them to do that. Again, Chris made a G.I. Jane joke at the expense of Jada and everything else. And so be it. So be it.
I thought that so like I said, I had no idea. All I know is you came in my inbox, guns blazing, and you were like, let me on the show. I actually thought you were going to have the opposite take, because so many people are saying what we're saying, which is shocking.
We're in line.
I want to ask you about that in a sec, but I thought you were going to have the opposite take and be like, I defend him, what he did. It was, did you see Tiffany Haddish?
We had
this is a man defending a woman. What a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. And again, it is a beautiful thing to see, but then there's a way to do it. There's 3 different ways. The first thing is to go up, not hit Chris and say, hey, Jada has alopecia. I think that joke was a little bit uncalled for, and maybe, and say your piece and then leave. Then all of a sudden, Chris is a bad guy. Or go backstage and handle it.
That's what I
But you
said.
can, like take it backstage and everything else, or go on stage and pull a Kanye, grab the mic, and it's like, when I stand up, I'm kind of sick of these jokes that are coming on me, whatever the case may be. Pull a Kanye, but the fact that he went up there and sucker punched him or sucker smacked him, whatever the case may be, that's where it's unacceptable. Because again, Chris could have escalated it. It could have been a fight. These two men could have been rolling on the stage and everything else. Chris took the high road. He stepped back. He let it go. Chris is the true winner. His ticket sales went up 300% at night. His whole tour is sold out. He's in Boston tomorrow. Everyone's waiting for Chris to say. Mm-hmm. I think even taking it to the next level is maybe Chris doesn't say anything at all.
But Bobby, don't you think Kanye, and this is again with the doubles, this is where it gets funky, okay? Because Kanye West is an elite celebrity, but I think this is where there's a double standard. And I reposted this
standard because it's all about
wouldn't be treated the same as Will Smith, I don't think.
This is going back way to the Britney and Christina Aguilera. Britney can do no wrong. If Britney fell up a flight of stairs, there would be 20,000 people coming to her rescue. If Christina Aguilera fell up the stairs, people would be laughing and pointing, be like, she fell. Same type of action. Two different outcomes. Sometimes you're likable, sometimes you don't. A lot of people, even though Kanye West is an elitist, in the elite category, he still doesn't have the likability of Will. There's people who defend him, but he doesn't have likability of Will. So then, and that's one of the points we made earlier this week, is that Kanye West could go on Instagram to protect his family and make points about protecting his family and how he's kind of questioning, Kim's choices in men around his kids to protect his family, and with doing so, he did a music video by it, and he went Twitter based and everything else. But Grammy snubbed it. Grammy said you can't come. But then Will Smith, again protecting his family, gets touted as a hero. Gets touted as a person, oh my gosh, he came to the support of a Black woman and everything else. It's like, so again, Kardashians are not liked by a lot of people. They have the same amount of people who like them. It's the same amount of people who hate them. So again, and some of those people who hate them maybe just have bigger voices. So again, when Kanye does it in protecting of his family, it's frowned upon. It's like, oh yeah, we're not going to let him come to the Grammys. But then when Will does it, and they say, well, maybe if Will did it before the Grammys, before the Oscars, maybe he's not invited. I said, but it's not the action, it's the outcome, because then it was like shock and awe. Oh, Kanye's just doing too much and everything else. He's just voicing out.
And what's more shocked than Will Smith going up and assaulting Chris Rock and then giving some phony baloney self-indulgent speech about family and protecting? First of all, I think you embarrass the entertainment industry. You embarrass women, the Williams family. Like, no one asked for this. Are you joking? And then to give this crying speech about fiercely defending when you were laughing 2 seconds ago. And then on top of it, like Jim Carrey said, these assholes have the balls to give him a standing ovation. Yet ostracize Kanye. Are you people joking?
Because again, this is what people can do for you. Kanye can do little for us. We're not in that realm. But Will Smith can do a lot of things for these actors. Let's get it. So I'm on the carpet. I have a group of African-American people. It's an African-American event. And we got everywhere from A-listers, B-listers, C-listers to background people. We asked them the same blanket question across the board. Everyone is like in support of, especially people from his cast, from his Bel Air, and people and a couple of the actresses that were playing the Williams sisters, in the thing. And they were like, oh, well, I really don't want to say anything. Well, I can't comment. Well, we didn't see anything like that from Mr. Will. And, I can't really speak out against my boss, and that kind of stuff. So it's like, so you have no opinion. So you're going to take a paycheck over integrity. Got it. Understood.
Hollywood.
And that's the whole thing. It's like, what is the cost of integrity? Yes. And again, and on the flip side, Will Smith risked it all. And he risked it all to because again, I'm flip-flopping.
Did he risk it all? Because look, he got no blowback, no nothing. Like,
he didn't know the outcome. That's like, it's a woo. Glad I got away with that. He didn't know the outcome, because when you risk it all, you don't know the outcome. If you're in a fit of rage and you go ahead and shoot up someone's room or shoot up someone's house, you're hoping that you're hoping you're going to play the insanity plea, and if it works, you're like, "Woo, I got away with one." But you don't know. You're not expecting to get away with it. Wouldn't expect to get away with that. But he risked it all and everything else, and that's amazing. Like the Oscar slaps on my TV. It's like we're never going to stop talking about it. It's everywhere.
I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised that so many. I'm just gonna be honest here. So many elite white celebrities and comics condemned him because we are in such a sensitive time when it comes to race. I was so surprised because I was like, I don't think that these people are going to openly want to condemn a Black man hitting another Black man over, like I said, a joke at a Black woman's expense.
It's right and wrong. It has nothing to do with, I think this surpasses color. This is now, this goes into elitism. There's a pecking order and everything. It has nothing to do with color. Just like when some people will say, well, Donald Trump's racist. Is he racist or that's green? Now, yeah, he is racist. He loves green. The more green you have, then it comes to that situation. So it's not an elitist type situation.
It surpasses. It surpasses, right? Yeah,
it surpasses color. It has nothing to do with color. The only color aspect of it is that you ruined Will Packer's moment. You ruined Questlove's moment. You ruined Wanda Sykes' moment. You ruined Chris Rock's moment. These are their situations, everything else. Because again, and in his defense, well, they ruined his moment with the joke. But the joke wasn't a joke. They still were doing tributes to past movies, and so Chris Rock was on par with that theme. So again,
what an actual beautiful thing that he was honoring and doing. Like, what a shitty way to overshadow that.
And they're from the same city. They're from Philly. That's your boy.
Wow,
I'm going to ruin my boy's moment for my family. Because again, there was so many more effective ways that he could have came to the defense of and still protected his family. He could have went backstage and had a fight. I wouldn't have minded if he went backstage and smacked him. And then we just talk about it like we didn't see it. Just we don't. And maybe there's like a grainy cell phone camera of someone getting the incident.
So by that logic, say Brad Pitt went up and smacked Robert De Niro in the exact same fashion. Do you think that it would have played out the same?
If Robert De Niro smacked Brad Pitt, it would have played out the same. Because Robert De Niro's in that upper. Brad is too, but it's like how low, like there's a widening. So are you here or are you here? Still at the upper level of it. You know what I'm saying? There's still room in there. Like, in other words, like if it's like 1 to 3.
The power dynamic.
People, you may be a third. You're still above the rest of everybody else. So I think if Robert De Niro smacked Brad Pitt, it would have been the same outcome. Robert De Niro would have been told to sit down for a second and chill, and then would have got his Lifetime Achievement Award.
Basically, so the same thing. So you don't think the Academy, again, there was no punishment really, right? So do you think that they're going to do you think anything's going to happen?
2 words, Harvey Weinstein.
Enough said. But isn't that so telling of Hollywood? They'll keep going and going because it's who benefits them, what benefits them, and their self-interest. I mean, that's what it is. And that's the joke about it on the whole, and that about them being so virtue signally and preachy, because at the end of the day, who do they look out for but themselves? Like Will Smith pulling this whole thing and making it all about himself. It encapsulates it perfect.
Now, here's even some more nuances. So then we say, oh, poor Will Packer. But you're the producer. Get on the mic and say, carry this fool out here. Get rid of him.
Why didn't he? Why didn't he? Because
there was serious talks. There's serious talks of me going up and stepping to Halle Berry and asking her to go out on a date. But you still didn't do it. There was like,
why didn't he? Talk. Why didn't he step up to the plate?
So now, like real time, I'm watching right now. They're saying the Oscars are going to meet tonight to figure out what they're going to do. But what can you do? You missed your window.
I agree completely. And I am a firm believer that if they weren't getting as much shit, it would be crickets.
Right.
It would be
There's
crickets.
nothing that they can do that would fit the crime. It's like if you take away his Oscar, he already got his acceptance speech. So what it is, he already won the Oscar. So if you take it away, he don't need the trophy.
Bobby, they let him go on and do a whole crying monologue for 8 minutes.
A whole crying monologue.
So that says everything.
And that crying monologue wasn't "I'm sorry." It wasn't all "I'm sorry." It was all like, "Oh, the weight of it and everything else." Like, yeah, there's a lot of people that get crapped on. Russell Westbrook and right now is filling through the LA Lakers, but he still goes out there and does his job. So again, it's like, yeah, you have to have thick skin. It's one, and it's triggering. There's people who see that and it's like, well, we're not, what happens? Because then again, it's like, it makes it seem like it's open season. Now you have copycats. Say like the Chris Rock is at a local comedy store trying out his new bit. Because they do that. They go to the small stuff like that. And there's no security. And somebody doesn't like it and goes up there and tries to do a copycat moment. Or even any other comic. There's been many other comments. There was one recently with Mike Tyson. Someone pulled a gun. Mike Tyson was at a comedy spot and the comic was out there ripping on everybody else. And Mike Tyson had to go ahead and be rescuer. So it's a lot of situations that this has ramification, and it was selfish and it was self-serving. And it's a sad situation because then again, I get the yes, protect my woman at all costs and everything else, but then there were so many different ways you could have did it.
I'm a woman and I'm not asking for this. That's all I have to say. Like, that's what I said in my app. Not like, it's just not what we're asking for. And Bobby, before I let you go, this is a twofold. What was it like being with Will Smith? You said you've kind of brushed shoulders. And also, since you're around it so much, you talk about, we both have seen it so much, but what is another example of this kind of elitism where they're protected that you've seen that you can think of that you were just like, are you serious? I can't believe this is even going to fly right now.
Well, we just talked about a little bit. Harvey Weinstein.
You saw that up close and personal?
It's one of those type of things where it's one of these things where he got away with a lot of Bill Cosby. Like these situations where they're protected because of what they do and not what they say. The only person that didn't get away with it was R. Kelly. And the only reason why R. Kelly didn't get away with it because he was so arrogant, he wanted to tape everything. If he didn't have any tapes, he would have got away with it. In reference to Will Smith, it was amazing.
I love Jada. I said that in my episode. And now you bring up a good point. Is the likability factor a part of it? Because I felt like I was family when I was with her. Like, they make you, I don't know about Will, but I know she made me feel like that.
That's the thing. It's like, so this, again, you were wrong at this moment, but I don't think you're a shitty person. I still think you're amazing. It just taints what you do.
Oh, see, I unearthed a clip in this episode with Will slapping a red carpet reporter in 2012 and in the exact same manner. And I can't believe that's not going viral because of the nature of this, but it makes me question his character.
But this is the thing that was warranted because this guy invaded his space and tried to kiss him, and Will backed him off and hit him. So this guy is known for pulling pranks. So the guy who did it is known for pulling pranks. That's what he do. He's like kind of like an Ali G type of situation. So then over there, he invaded his space, pulled Will in, and tried to kiss him on the mouth. Will pushed back and gave him a little like brush off and hit, and everything else. And it's so fun. They tell the story, but then the guy was looking for some kind of reaction. He would have taken that hit. He wanted that type of reaction.
Oh, see, I talk about it in my app as like, a lot, like for me, a lot of the times after red carpet interviews, when you're close with someone there, they feel close to you, they'll hug you and maybe like a little whatever. So I'm thinking maybe it's a European thing, but maybe it's a greeting. So I'm like, oh my God.
No, yeah. The guy is known for that. And actually he wanted a reaction. Will gave him exactly what he wanted.
No, I just feel like I saw that same sort of reactive, like scary, I don't know, but was it necessary? Is it necessary to hit? I don't know. It's just, it just makes me view him differently. And I wonder if people are going to view him differently. And again, if he'll get, which he won't, the same treatment as everyone who, again, this is like far more, offensive in my view than what people get canceled for and have to apologize and lose jobs for. So I wonder, is he going to go on booking jobs, this, that, the other thing, late night shows and continue to get a pass?
So let's get back to even so Billie Eilish had a top on and she showed more cleavage. And she lost a couple million fans due to her cleavage and everything else. But she still has 18, 20 million fans. So the same thing with Will Smith. He's going to lose a couple opportunities, but he still has so many more opportunities that does that really matter?
Okay. I could see it.
So it's going to affect his bottom line, but it's not going to break it.
Right. It makes Hollywood look like a joke because look at the things that they ruin people's careers over, like minuscule things.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And then now we even have to look at, like, was your apology to Chris Rock damage control or did you mean it?
No, he didn't mean it, Bobby. He was dancing his night away again like it's 1999.
Right.
He had wrote things on Instagram that he deleted that night, like Jada and I go to stir shit up, can't take us anywhere, that type of thing. I think it was to save face, and it was
because
obvious.
Again, the first thing you do if you really mean it is you call that man privately.
Yes.
And you tell him, just like sometimes you don't want the cameras. I don't want to, I really mean it. I'm going to show you how much I mean it. I don't want the publicity for this.
Well, Bobby, lastly, and thank you for stepping into the cancel zone yet again. Words for Will Smith. If he was hearing this from your mouth to his ears, what would you say?
Do the right thing. Talk to Chris Rock. Pull him aside. Y'all have a man-to-man conversation. You don't have to do it in public. It can be off book, but do the right thing. Period. We're having the unpopular, popular opinion.
Well, that's why I'm saying, that's why I said earlier, I was surprised. In this one, it's kind of like, what is the popular opinion? Like, I really thought you were going to defend him because you were so ready to talk.
Right. So one more quick thought. We're on the red carpet. Again, we have a good Hollywood melting pot of everybody there. And across the board, when those people were, it's like in our comment section, they were accusing us of pre-screening the comments. And I was like, no, this was real time across the board that everybody was pro-Will on this or didn't want to say anything. So then when the John Leguizamos and when the what's the other one who came out? We just said it. Who said so it was many horrible?
Jim Carrey, Bill Maher.
Jim Carrey. Yeah, when they came out and said that, it was like now they're the outliers.
Well, that's why I was surprised so many people were saying what we said, because I thought that would be the unpopular view. So I'm a little surprised. But
did you see the Venus Williams post? So Venus goes on I'm not going to diss my guy, but that was crazy. You in her look, she didn't say it. She gave that, what was that look? And when you read between the lines of what she didn't say, like she kept it on for 30 seconds, just gave you the look. So we can imply, because again, she told the line. But then Zoe Kravitz, she like, I don't want to stand for that. She put
I
out
love her posts.
Yeah, 3 or 4 posts. And it was like, well, how could you do that? So Zoe was supporting. It's like, hey, because it was out of line.
Oh, but you're saying how they were like, Zoe, how could you say that? That's what I was talking about earlier with like an alliance or like a by default, I have to defend him kind of thing.
Yes. Wrong is wrong is wrong is wrong. If Barack Obama went up there and smacked Will Smith, you talked about like the top of the top. He's wrong. He's wrong. Barack Obama should be carried out of there. Him and Michelle should be carried out of there. No, Michelle's going to stay because she didn't do anything wrong. Like if in a perfect world, I know we're going too long. In a perfect world, Will Smith gets escorted out. He still gets announced. They have 1 or 2 choices to make. Either let Jada come up in there and get the award for Will, or they just do a mention and they go on to something else. 1 or 2 things. And if Will got carried out and Jada went up there and went to that award and said her piece because she was the butt of the joke, again, Chris Rock would have been the villain. But because they would have got the effect. But no, they went straight, and because they did that, it's like, Chris, I mean, not Chris, but Will, you're bad for doing this. Because they said, well, he was protecting women. I said, yeah, but there's so many 5,000 different ways that you could have went that would have been just as that effective, even more effective, even more.
And from a woman's point of view, sexier. Listen, right. We want a man to stand up in our honor, but like this,
right?
Loser.
And it's like, right. And no one said Chris. And did you notice that no one said Chris Rock got punked because everyone respects his restraint. Everyone respects his restraint and respects his class and the high road and everything else, because there's a slim line between self-defense and retaliation. It's seconds. It's seconds between self-defense and retaliation. Self-defense is blocking the punch and maybe hitting back to get him off you. Retaliation is after you got slapped, then you hit him back. And it's a very, very slim line. So then when he passed that line, he had no shot. He had no shot. So it's like a stand down.
Mm-hmm.
When Will Smith went up on that stage and went, it's like, ooh, you still have seconds to grab it, and he didn't.
I know. I feel for him so much. And that's one of the reasons why Jim Carrey was like, I would sue the shit out of Will Smith, because this is going to live on forever and ever. Those images and the videos of Chris, it's embarrassing, but also he ended up coming out on top because look how he carried himself and held it.
Right. Yeah, those images, that imagery. Like, what was the guy? Like, someone equated that to the Muhammad Ali popular shot where he's standing over, I think, Sonny Liston, and Sonny Liston's legacy was forever and touted, it was declining because of that shot. Because you see this man standing over you and you just get knocked out. The same thing with Chris Rock is like you forever a meme, a hit, the crying Michael Jordan, everything. It's like you're forever.
Yes,
they use that for everything. How many? So I mean, I know Michael Jordan's at home like, "Whoo! I'm so glad we got another meme that's gonna take my place," because every time somebody says something that's like you don't agree with, you're gonna have the Chris Rock face there.
Yep.
So
it's
a lot.
Bobby, what is the popular opinion to have here, or the okay or acceptable one?
That's the thing. It's like, because that has so many levels to that. Because I think we have voiced together. I think we have voiced the acceptable one. But it has levels. We can't. It's like, what's wrong is wrong, no matter what it is. Like I said, I understand what he's did. I understand the whole situation, but you don't have to do that. I think even Chris Rock had an unpopular opinion with OJ. It's like, yo, you didn't have to kill her, but I understand. That was his thing.
And yikes. But it's, okay, this is the last I'm going to say, but also I was thinking about this, but what does it say that people like Howard Stern, Jim Carrey, who notably have had crazy controversial award show moments? Like, do you remember when Howard Stern, I think it was at the MTV Awards, was like in a thong? It was back in his heyday of like his raunchy stuff. He had was leveraged down and sat on someone's face. Yeah. And like Jim Carrey, what did he kiss Alicia Silverstone or something? And now both of these men are like, dude, unacceptable. Like, what does that say?
Because again, their situation was a joke gone bad that everybody was in the room and set it up. Like and Will Smith was a moment that no one expected was coming. True. No one was in on the Will Smith smack. There was other people on it was a room full of bad ideas. Because I remember that Howard Stern had the Prince booty out pants because the year before Prince showed up with them yellow pants with his ass out.
Yeah.
So definitely like that. It was a bunch of people in the room that thought that was going to be okay.
Good point. So, all right, Bobby Jones, in a world of Wills, be a Bobby. Enough said. Thanks, Bobby Jones.
No problem. This is so much fun. Thank you. Thank you so much.